I'm not going near that because you have these scenarios. So, I hate to say it, but UST and Terra Luna definitely set back crypto as a whole, probably months, if not a year.
In this interview, Gareth Soloway talks about some important levels we need to watch out for Bitcoin. He said that he's short-term bullish on Bitcoin and how there are too many bears who are trying to control the market. He then talked about the Terra Luna debacle, its impact on Bitcoin, and when he thinks we could get out of this bear market. If you want to hear Gareth's comments on the crypto market, watch this video till the end, and don't forget to press the like button. Also, subscribe to our channel for daily updates. We post twice every single day. Now, let's look at his interview.
What is going on in the charts? Let's check it out.
So
Yeah,
kind of a
we had a
wimpy
move up to the 30 and then we dropped right back down. Was that
Yeah,
a
I mean, I
bull
think
trap?
that's the bottom line here is that literally you have this tight range that we've been in for the last 2-3 weeks now.
What do you
kind of
is that a day?
12
Is that a daily that you're zoomed out
Yes,
on right
this
now?
is a
Okay.
daily Bitcoin chart, correct? Yeah. So I mean, basically, we were sticking in this range. You kind of came up here, you came down, you bounced, you kind of hammered on this lower level. It held, and then it looked so optimistic just a few days ago when we surged above this line. We closed above. We got this pause candle right here, and then it just gave it all back yesterday and kind of put us back in this channel. So I'm still slightly very near term bullish on Bitcoin. I do think that there's too many bears out there right now. There's a tendency when any sort of asset gets too many bears, price action will go in the opposite direction until that mitigates a little bit. And also the charts continue to hold this lower level. So you have a level at 28,700 right here. And then this lower channel line, which is just such an impressive channel. You can see it hit here, and then it pierced here on that UST panic, the Terra Luna debacle, and it held. So that's really your line in the sand. Like for me, I'm long Bitcoin here. I only about a 12% position in my portfolio, so it's not a lot. But
you're long from where? Like, show me the
30,
point at
30,
which you
30,000, yeah.
from 30K. Okay, I want to ask you
Yeah, so I
something.
basically, when it came down to this lower level, I bought. I was down a little bit on the initial flush, then I was in the money, and it's kind of just been going in and out of the money for me, recently here. But again, I'm going to stick with that because as long as we hold this down sloping trend line, that's kind of the line in the sand. If that gives way, then that would be something where I'd start to think we're going to 20,000 if that gives way. As long as it holds, I'm rolling the dice, and I think you get an up move to maybe 34.5, 35, maybe 38,000. Midterm, I'm still bearish. We haven't seen the washout that needs to happen yet in crypto. We started to see it with Terra Luna and UST, but it's got to be more. It's got to happen to more coins. You got to close above, which is like step one. So breakouts are 3-step processes, and what you're really looking for is you don't want to get caught with an institutional game. And institutions love this type of play where they'll take a chart above a level and then get everyone to jump in thinking it's a breakout, right? So think about how many Bitcoiners saw this, right? And they were like, oh, it broke out, and they jump long. And then it's like pause candle, reversal, take their money and say, thank you very much. So what I like to do is I use what's called the confirmation signal. And what that is basically this was your first close above that line. I need to see a close above the high of that candle, which will then confirm it, right? So the high of that candle is right there. I look for kind of what would be called a confirmation candle breakout.
The high of the wick. The high of the wick is what you're looking at.
The highest point on the candle, it has to be above. Yeah.
Okay.
And that basically, what I found is that institutions are only going to commit so much money to reversing the move. And the longer it stays and the higher it goes, it's going to attract more money on the long side. They can only fight the battle with a limited amount of money, right? They're not going to put themselves in a position to lose $1 billion to make 100 million. So usually if you get that close above, now you have a legitimate breakout. Now it's off to the races. We didn't get that, and we got that spinning top, just like you said. And then unfortunately a reversal real quick. I was disappointed because I was still hoping like, okay, well, sideways candle, maybe you start making a bull flag and then can break up. And it just kind of ripped our hearts out in that respect. So doesn't mean it won't happen. We could easily go back and finally confirm, but watch if you do confirm, watch the move you get after that. It's a legitimate breakout at that point. It's important for investors and traders to recognize that emotion is what drives, especially the retail crowd. So institutions, when they're looking to make money, are going to try to exploit that, right? So they're going to try to play on your greed and your fear. So when you had the Terra Luna debacle down here and it was below this trend line, you had so many people just throwing in the towel and saying, I'm done. And what happens? We go right back up. The same thing right here. You have buyers coming in. The emotion starts to say, oh, this is going to be the big breakout. We're going to go start ripping higher. And they like to just reverse that on you. So you really have to be sure it's a real breakout before you commit, in my opinion. Otherwise, it's scary. I mean, they have these algorithms even built to kind of do these kind of games. And it's shark infested waters, no doubt about it. I think your minimum upside is only, unfortunately, like 33,000. We kind of already kissed that. So my guess is you have this level here, which is this low pivot, which is around 34.5. I'm optimistic that if we start to get a little bit of a momentum move, we can go here, which would be around 37.5, 38,000. Also, if you do a trend line down here, you kind of get to that same level. So one of the things in TA that we always look for is that when two trend lines merge, that's always going to be a more powerful level of resistance or support. So in this case, if we did get up here, this might be even a shortable level in terms of resistance for Bitcoin. But yeah, I mean, at this stage of the game, I mean, you still have to break out of this channel. The reason why I'm slightly bullish is just because it's a risk reward assessment. If you have this white trend line down here that's protecting you, and you have this one, and this white one is the big, this is the big kahuna right here. This is the epic channel here that we've hit here, and we keep, the bounces, the size of these bounces are huge off this line. So I'm going with that because I have the protection below, and I understand that if it breaks, then I just stop out. And I maybe take a $4,000 loss, not the end of the world, 10, 15% type exit strategy there. I think you will have a scenario where the higher like Bitcoin's price goes, it does take a huge amount of money to move it an equal 100% just because of the market cap at that point. So I think that's absolutely correct. But I think also you have this scenario where you have price. There's a certain amount of maturity that needs to occur in the crypto space that hasn't occurred yet. And that's keeping a lot of the big money out. And we have to be clear on this, is that, when you have an asset like Bitcoin drop like it did, and then you have the UST scenario and the Terra Luna thing happen, there could have been a lot of big money that was kind of getting interested in getting in Bitcoin. And now they're like, all right, I'm not going near that, because you have these scenarios. So, I hate to say it, but UST and Terra Luna definitely set back crypto as a whole, probably months, if not a year. And there's a lot of people that have talked about this elongating cycles from 4 years to more. But I've always said is like, you have to show proof of that, right? And we don't have proof. As of now, it is 4-year cycles, and we have to just go with that until it's proven differently.
So you brought up Terra Luna, and I was actually discussing this with Nick. And basically, with Terra Luna and the debacle that is created right now, we see all this regulation in a rush because of Terra Luna. Do you think that the regulation that comes in after this Terra Luna situation, will it be more, will it dominate, or will it push institutions more into Bitcoin, and Bitcoin will become a more dominant force in the future? Or will institutions also take into the altcoins? Like, are they going to be more cautious of altcoins and just focus on Bitcoin, is what I'm trying to say? Or are they going to still want to, get into altcoins as much as they did before Terra Luna?
Yeah, I think for the most part, institutions have a very strict kind of risk assessment form. So for the most part, they're going to gravitate towards safer stuff, which in crypto is Bitcoin, Ethereum. So they'll allocate a majority of their money to those. But that doesn't stop. Like, there are plenty of institutions in the stock market that will invest smaller amounts in these kind of what would be considered the smaller altcoins that could do a 10 times or a 50 times type thing. So I always think there'll be some money that will be interested in that kind of thing. But I certainly, honestly, I'm begging for regulation. I know that sounds sacrilege in the crypto space, but if you really want, like, if people want Bitcoin to recover and go higher, the only way that's going to happen is if you get regulation where things like the UST and Terra Luna don't occur again. Or if it does occur, at least investors get protected, like an FDIC insurance type scenario. So I hope they get regulation out. I think the regulation is absolutely key to the bear market ending.